Trigger warning.
Just in case you guys need it.
Yeah,
If your life is in shambles, don't listen to this.
We're hanging by a thread.
Welcome to the Our Advice Podcast. This is episode 6, and today we are talking about mental health. I just looked at the question of the day. What do you live for?
Loaded question.
So dramatic.
This is gonna be a fun episode.
This is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, mental health. Let's just talk about our feelings and our desires and how we're feeling.
Let's do it.
This is going to turn into a therapy
It's gonna
session.
turn. I don't know where this is gonna go.
It's going to be a therapy session,
Good
not
thing
really
I-
a podcast.
This is going to be a wild ride.
We have
So
food in here.
So let's start with question number 1. What do you do when you're not okay?
Muffet, you're a mental health kind of therapist girly. What do you do when you're not okay?
no, like no therapist want to do that as a disclaimer. I've just been in therapy for 3 years and hanging by a thread. So I think I'm working on it. Now, what do I do when I'm not okay? I sleep.
You sleep?
I eat my feelings.
Oh.
My therapist does not approve of this. Just well,
Did
that's
she
so-
tell you, is there exercises that she tells you to do when you're not
Yeah.
okay?
No, I'm like, I have like my grounding techniques, like it's a 5, 4, 3, 1. It's like, okay, 5 things you can see, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can taste, 2 things you can hear. I'm forgetting one. I don't know what it is. This always happens.
The senses.
Smell.
The 5 senses, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm missing one. I don't know what it is. So this
Yeah,
this is
ground.
why I always end up having a panic attack because I forget one and
I forgot
about
one.
it. I forget one. I
And
start
you panic about that one that you forgot.
I only have 4.
If I'm stressed enough, I will. I've had like a mental breakdown over drawing and like my pencil tip snapping. So
Yeah.
it just depends on how I'm doing.
I think it's pretty obvious we all kind of cope with humor as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're all dying today.
Dark humor is a good one to
Yeah.
deal with mental health. No, it's like right now I'm just working more. I'm like actually giving myself the space. I'm like, okay, if I need to grieve, I need to grieve, and I need to cry it out. If I need to sleep, I need to actually sleep and not pop a Mountain Dew and just work through it because I don't drink
I
coffee.
love that you said Papa Mountain Dew.
I know, I was like,
not
wait, what?
beer.
I don't drink because I don't drink and
So
I
drink
don't
Mountain Dews.
and I don't drink coffee. And I'm like, if you listen to the previous episode, this is another reason why my nationality card is getting revoked, because I don't like coffee. So it's like, okay, only thing that has enough caffeine and it's not an energy drink is gonna get me into like my heart rate going super up. Mountain Dew,
Damn.
which is unhealthy either because it has a little sugar, but there we go.
Sugar helps.
Sugar
does
helps
help.
me a lot. I eat a lot of sugar.
Oh no, same with me. I'm like, whenever I'm anxious, sugar helps me calm down.
Yeah.
But it's also like, okay, I'm sleep deprived, haven't eaten in 8 hours, and if I'm popping one to do my hands, if I drink too much, it's like,
I see.
3 chocolate chip cookies a day helps
But for
the pain
McDonald's?
go away from McDonald's for me. So
What
good.
do you do when you're not okay, Caroline?
I cry. I get chocolate chip cookies and milk, fresh and warm. Talking helps. So I'm really grateful
To
that
yourself?
I have.
Or to
No,
someone?
that's support system. But like my friends, you guys. What else helps? I really need to get back into affirmations. That helped me out of a terrible place. Coloring while listening to affirmations. Coloring books are fun.
oh yeah,
But
they are.
crying.
I think you
Crying.
actually got me coloring book with all. With,
I know. I don't want an adult coloring book. I want a princess one coloring book though.
I like the adult ones. Caroline got me one all filled out.
They're
with
too
cursed
complicated,
words.
and then I'm crying over that too.
But like the
It's not
little
perfect
kid
enough.
ones, the little kids ones use up all my markers because like the lines are so far.
Yes, they're too big, and I like the little ones I can pick and choose like
Yeah,
different
more
shades
colors.
and tones and tints and going like, oh my.
What about you, Jennifer?
I feel like before I used to ignore it and pretend I was fine and kind of go about my day, but then I noticed I would do things like half-ass something or not do, or just ignoring it didn't help. So now grown-up me cries and just lets it out. I'm like, okay, you're not having a good day, let it out. And then I've noticed that it kind of helps because you can't even cry anymore. You're like out of tears. You're like, okay, that's good. I listen to my body. If I wants to eat something, comfort food, I notice it is a thing. It's not always good. I don't do it often. I usually eat pretty healthy. So I let myself indulge in whatever it is. And I just kind of listen. If I need to take a nap, if I need to talk to someone, it depends on like what the emotion is based on how I deal with things. But yeah, all in all, I've noticed that it helps to cry or to talk it out with someone that I feel safe and will just kind of listen and not really interject with like their feelings because I feel like I can't even take any of
That's the
someone
most
else's.
important part. Someone that you feel safe with.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That, and also if you're talking with someone, it's like, okay, just letting them know, do you need advice or do you need to be listened to? Because there's nothing worse when you just need to feel validated. And they're like, but you could do this and this, and I just get so mad.
No, you're right. I used to be really bad at that. I have this thing where when someone I love is hurting, I want to fix it. So I'm like, do this, do that, do this, or what about this?
I
and
have
I
that
just
problem too.
yeah, and
me
I didn't know it was
too.
a bad
Like,
thing.
I just want to help.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you just want to help, but then I had to learn to just listen, and there's just not a solution for specific things, and people just want you to know that you're there for them.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are so in tune. Honestly, I'm like, I cry it out, but then I'm like, I talk to myself. I don't talk to other people. I think that's the problem too. Because, like, I have the reason. And then, yeah, like, I try to find the answer within myself. Like, okay, what can I do to make myself feel better? So, like, I just, like, sometimes, I don't know why, but, like, okay, it happens when I'm driving that it just, all my emotions.
Oh my
just
gosh,
hit.
yes. And you're like sobbing.
The guy on the side, are you good?
I know. I think one time I was like crying at a red light, and then I turned and I saw someone looking at me. I was like,
That's so embarrassing.
Oh my god,
but
are we
it's
all
so
living
real.
the same life?
So
We're all
real.
crying in the car?
Yeah.
Same. That's why I tend to disassociate when I'm driving, which is not safe to do. I do not recommend this because it's like I will either disassociate or have a full-on panic attack, and then I need to pull over until I calm down enough.
and it's
to
funny
keep
because in
going.
the last one I said that I wanted to die in a car crash.
She doesn't.
Right.
So it all happens in the car. But that's where I'm like by myself. I think that's why it happens.
But she's still a good driver. Don't
I'm
revoke
still
her
a
license.
good driver.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm more of a passenger princess. But
Love
Or
that.
don't
for you.
raise her insurance either.
but yeah, like I talk to myself. Like I talk myself out of it. Like what am I feeling? Like why am I feeling this way? Like what can I do to fix it? Type of thing. Yeah.
That takes a lot of maturity to be
Thanks.
able to work through things on your own. Kudos to you.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm 50 up here.
Next question is, I feel like we made up these questions a long time ago because I don't even know what to answer. What is giving you purpose today?
Or better yet, what gives you purpose?
Okay,
Let's
what gives you
rework it.
purpose?
Today or in general?
So, I feel like the last year wasn't my year in so many different ways, like personal, career, and everything, that now I try to look at the bright side. I realize that as a society, we oh, what job do you have? Oh, that's great. Like, we value specific things that aren't necessarily the best, and it doesn't mean that you're better than someone or that you're succeeding in life or not. So now I go, like, what is going on in my life that makes me happy and I'm proud of? And so, and it had to be things that were not traditional. Like, I got to travel a lot in the past year, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, most people don't get to travel or like leave like their proximity. So that's kind of cool. And I've really enjoyed myself. So traveling, I like that I've traveled, or I'm healthy and
You're
alive.
living life.
Yeah, you're living life.
Like, I feel the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life. I pay attention to what I put into my body. I work out, and I never did that in the past. So I'm happy about that. My family, I've got to spend more time with them and quality time, and I wasn't able to do that before because I was always commuting to work.
Yeah.
And it kind of was in that hustle culture, and I finally had an opportunity to stop. So now I'm looking at the little things that bring me joy as my purpose.
I love that. I feel like I'm very much in the same place right now where like I'm like my main goal right now is to save money so I can travel more.
Yeah.
I feel like I learn to appreciate life more when you travel because you realize what a little speck of dust you are on this world and in time. And I think that's beautiful.
That is not
like,
sounding very motivating.
no, but it's like beautiful because nothing matters. Like just live
Yeah.
your life and enjoy what's going on today. And then also I'm very happy at this point in time in my life. So like I don't know if it's healthy or not, but trying to maintain that is what's keeping me going.
No, that's good.
For me, like it's so funny because like I think 2020 was when like all just shifted for me because I had just graduated then, and like everything kind of just like ended. Like people walked out of my life, and like I feel like I'm in this like eat, pray, love journey in a way because I'm like a totally different person than I was like 5 years ago. But like right now, it's giving me purpose. I think it's just like reconstructing my life and being happy with it. And that's what like is keeping me going. Like I want to like find a new purpose.
I love that.
and enjoying the journey of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Destination.
important to enjoy the journey because, sometimes you forget. It's like, oh, I'm like going nowhere, but you don't realize like how many stuff you have done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's keeping you going?
I'm just trying to hang on to the little bit of like the little thread of mental stability still have.
That's what's keeping me going.
I think you have more than you give yourself credit for.
Uh-huh.
No, it's just like, but that's true. Like, I'll say that it's easier to fall into the imposter syndrome train and go that way. It's just this year in general has been really, just even the past month has been really rough for me. I lost my dog, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I'm like, okay, it's just trying to figure out at this point, okay, what do I need to do just to, even if it's the bare minimum, to make myself stay the most mentally stable way that I can. And it's like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm at least getting enough sleep, that I'm spending some quality time with the people I love, because when I'm feeling overwhelmed or anxious, I just tend to avoid going out and just like shut down. And it's like, okay, even if I am, and I'm like, okay, just trying to do some journaling. I'm like, okay, what's going on? What do I need to do? What do I need to prioritize? And I'm like, okay, it's just trying to be grateful for the little things right now.
That's good. Seems like a common thread that we're all just
Struggle
finding the
living
joys
life.
in life.
Have we all been to therapy before?
Yeah.
I have, yeah.
What? Because
3 years strong.
therapy is a journey, and finding a therapist is a journey. What's the?
Especially in this country.
Let's start with what's the worst advice a therapist
I'll
has
go
given
first.
you?
I think the most recent one I went last year because last year was a trip. So they were like, "Why are you here? You seem like you have it all together." And I'm like,
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
mm-hmm.
I hate it.
And the rest of the thing, I was just like, I want to leave right now, but I have 40 minutes.
I'm on the clock.
You triggered me because very often, actually, I've only ever had one good therapist, but out of everybody else, when they would be like, so what do you want to talk about? Like, I don't know how to start the
tell me.
conversation. And so, like, they're like, so do you think you still need therapy? And so, like, it almost feels like they want to get rid of me. And like, they're making me assume, like, they're trying to say, like, oh, you seem fine. You don't need this. And so, like, even though I know I'm not fine, I like, oh, well, they think I'm fine and I don't want to bother them anymore. I guess I'll dip and say I'm fine.
And stay home and cry it out.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that was triggering.
Yeah.
I haven't had much experience with different therapists because I haven't done it as much, gone to therapy. But the only thing I didn't like that my therapist did was talk about her experiences when it was kind of like, hey, ma'am, I'm on my time, girl. We're not here to talk about you. What about me?
They're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I know. Well, to be fair, she was like, I think she was barely starting off, but that was my one thing. It's not that she specifically said something bad, and I did like that kind of friend feel because it felt like I was just chatting with a friend, but I just felt like, ma'am, I'm in this country, like we're on my time right now. Time is money, so.
Yeah. The way, like, mental health has always been a struggle for me in general. I'm like, now 3 years later, I know I have generalized anxiety disorder, and I have social anxiety. So it's been for me like realizing, because I've been coping with this my whole life, and I always thought it was the standard. And it didn't come until the pandemic, because I was working at a pharmacy where it's just my mental health 100% tanked. But I had been struggling before, and I was like, okay, like I looked at my community college, and they said they had like counseling services for mental health. And it was like, okay, you know what? I'm like, this is scary as heck, because like we're all Latinas, like mental health is not really something widely discussed. And I was like, okay, I'm scared as hell, but I'm gonna do it. And I went, and they were like, okay, so like what's going on? And I was like, started like trying to be like, okay, well, this is what's happening to me, this is how I'm feeling. And I'm like trying to see what I can do. And now, like, when I finished talking, the therapist just looked at me and was like, so it sounds like you have some real deep issues. This is just like if you're stressed because you have finals coming up, yeah, we can't help you here. You have to find somewhere else. And I was like,
what? They said they can't help you?
yeah, because this is like, they're like, oh, this is just like, I'm stressed because I have a final, so I'm stressed because I don't know how to manage like my school workload. You have deeper issues than that. And I was like,
What
great, thanks.
Not the therapist telling me I got issues.
No, like,
I know.
Like,
That's why I'm here, ma'am.
That's wild.
Exactly.
I've heard nothing but bad things about seeing a therapist
On
at
campus?
yeah, on
College
campus.
campuses? I never got to go. I wish I did.
Did you, Manfred, did you ever go to therapy back in Ecuador, or did you just start
No,
here?
when I was here.
Okay.
I mean, would see this count the school psychologist from time to time. She was actually one of my teachers, and I got along with her, and I would just like talk, but it wasn't like therapy. And I'm like, now that I think about it, I know I've struggled with anxiety for a while, and I even remember there's this it's not it's medication, but it's like OTC, back home, and now I'm like, because I have anxiety, so like for me it's like I get tics, my hands start shaking, like I started like my eye twitching, and I remember I think the school nurse gave me this like medication called, I think it's Pasinerval, and it's like made of like valerian root. They didn't even ask me, like, go just take this, and I got home and knocked out.
School?
Yeah, this is high school.
They can't give you.
not
But it
here.
was Ecuador.
Yeah, in Ecuador. They gave me that
I
one
want some
too.
of that.
And I like my school, like my routine from back home was like, you get from class, because I would get home from school like at 4 p.m. Get home from school, go take a shower, and then go eat something or do my homework. And I got home, I was changing clothes like to go take a shower, and that's the last thing I remember.
That's
Then I woke up and my dad was literally breaking down with my brother at the door because
You wouldn't wake up.
I've been there for over an hour and a half. I wasn't responding. My brother looked like
and
underneath.
you locked the door? Oh, on the shower.
Because I was gonna shower. So
You fell asleep in the bathroom?
You
in
knocked
the bathroom
out.
floor.
Oh my
I was
God.
So my dad was like knocking at the door, and like obviously I wasn't responding. My younger brother like looked, and he just saw me on the floor. They freaked out and they broke down the door.
Oh my god.
And
That's
I was
intense.
yeah. That's how I was like. So it took me a while to kind of like go look for help again, and that happened
That's
in community
scary.
college, and I was like, hey, what am I
Yeah.
doing now?
What's the best advice a therapist has given you? We have to share a good experience.
No,
we don't want to turn.
I
people
do. I'm
away.
actually trying to
No.
pick right now because thankfully, like after that bad experience in community college, I found online like a Latinx directory of like mental health, and I found my therapist out there. Her name is Tina. She's freaking amazing. She's just amazing. I'm like, she speaks Spanish, thank goodness. So if I freak out and I can't say what I'm saying in
Yeah.
English, I can switch back and forth. She lets me cuss, which is therapeutic. And she's like, she's like, have you given you time to cry? And I'm like, I don't have time. Like, you need to make it. And like, if you want to schedule it, like literally put in your calendar.
Cry at 10 p.m.
You would.
I have a very important point.
Because that's how I am. Everything runs by a timeline. I need to keep my planner. I need to keep my schedule, especially because I'm working and I have school and I vote. She's like, no, you're going to have to pencil it in. Just like, and you're going to start penciling in, actually have breakfast, actually have lunch. And they're like, because you're not eating and you're getting stressed out and then you're crashing. So you're
so
going
she
to
cares about all aspects of your life.
yeah, and she's like, okay, have you been doing it? She's been sending me homework. And she's like, she's amazing.
She follows up. What about you, Vanessa?
I think there was, I think Caroline, you kind of touched on it. Like, this is an advice. Nobody cares about you, and that's so true. Like, everyone's in their own head. So like, what I do, like, I can do whatever I want because nobody cares about me, in the best way possible.
This is giving me like what I was thinking about Caroline. It can go a very good way, and it can
Yeah.
also go a very bad way.
That relates to what I was gonna say. The best advice I got. So a lot of my anxiety was because of how I was raised. Very like extreme. Like either things can go great or things can go bad. And so my anxiety was like failure or like getting in a car crash. Like just these extreme bad things are gonna happen constantly. And she told me that, like, you're seeing things very much in black and white, and that's not how things are. Like, yeah, you're scared to drive, but like the chances of you flipping your car and getting a heart attack is like 1 in a million compared to like having a nice drive and getting to your destination. So why are you scared of driving? And so like that helped me. That was after I had my first panic attack in 2020, and like I wasn't living a normal life because it felt like a train. The way panic attacks feel, like slow, chugga, chugga, chugga. And then it's like this extreme, like intense, like your world is collapsing. And so she helped me with that. And then also medication changed the game for me. Because I feel like Latino families, the reason why they're like anti-mental health is because they associate it with like you're being loco. They're like loca. There's something wrong with you. They don't want their
And if
kid
you
to,
start medication, you're going vas a terminar en el manicomio.
they don't want their kid to be, they don't want something wrong to be with their kid. So so like being on medication and seeking help in the first place was like something very scary because people associate medication with like, oh, estás loca, or like you have something
Or if you're
wrong
gonna
with
get
you.
addicted to it, and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily true.
Yeah. And so what changed the game for me was seeing a psychiatrist that was like answered every question and was really communicative about me. And what changed the game was she told me the brain is an organ in your body and it's having trouble transferring these chemicals and functioning normally. So like if your liver, your pancreas wasn't functioning normally, wouldn't you take medication to help it get back to normal? She's like, it's the same thing for your brain. It's only temporary until like it can function properly on its own. And I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, and so she like my medication in particular is only for anxiety. There's like different ones that also address depression and all these things. And so she like really helped me feel safe and understand that like this is a health thing. Mental health isn't separate from like getting a facial or like
Or just going to get a physical checkup.
going to get a physical checkup.
Because it is true.
Your
like
eyesight.
the brain is an organ. It's like the same way like you would go running because you need to improve your cardiovascular health, or you would go to the eye doctor and you wouldn't hesitate to go get glasses or contacts because you need them to see.
Yeah.
It's the same way your brain needs a little bit of help to function properly.
And everyone deserves to live a normal life. So yeah, it's all about management and being open to things.
That's good. I'm glad you got help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it worked for you.
What was the best advice?
I think for me, just communicating my problems and respect and having other people respect my boundaries. I feel like I'm a people pleaser, and sometimes like things really just don't bother me, or I'm okay going with the flow, but I'm not very good at voicing when things aren't okay with me, and I kind of just brush it off, which isn't okay because you kind of start building this resentment towards people that you love or your friends. So now I try to speak. It's really hard.
It
But
is.
very, very hard. But I try to voice my opinions about things or stuff that doesn't make me. And then saying no. Like, I don't know why we think it's such a bad word.
Yeah.
But it's like not in my vocabulary. And I'm like, oh, I can't. Like, I could be super jam-packed with things, but I can't say no.
Yeah.
And you feel guilty for doing so.
Yeah. And almost addressing your boundaries make you feel guilty. Like, I feel
Yeah.
guilty because I feel mean. Or sometimes people, when you are finally addressing your boundaries and you never have, they're like, oh, why are you being like this? This is not normally how you are, or not this. And I'm like, oh. And then you kind of start seeing who respected you and who didn't respect you. So it's nice as well.
There was something I read a while back, and like probably like on social media or something. It was like the people who are upset about you placing boundaries to take care of yourself are the people who benefited from you not having
Yeah.
any.
Period.
Period.
Yeah.
That's a
I felt that.
Yeah, that's when like boundaries are key, and I'm like, and I can relate with like the people pleasing and feeling really guilty. Like earlier last week, Carol and I were gonna go get some coffee after a final. And I was like, girl, I'm like literally did not sleep at all last night. Not driving my car. I'm like, I can't. She was like, it's okay, it's cool. And I'm like, and I know like if she had the same situation, I would not feel like bad about it or like make her feel bad. So it's like, why do I feel like the world's gonna end, or I'm being a bad person for setting a boundary that I need to
It's
take care of
okay to
myself?
say no.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Our Vibes Media.
Okay, well, I do have a question for you guys. I think, Caroline, you touched on it. What did your family think about when you were putting your mental health first? Would you like to go first?
I mean, I can add on. So, mental health is still very much like kind of not spoken amongst my family. Like, I just kind of, keep it to myself. And then I try to use what I learned to support my family when I feel like they need advice in terms of their own mental health. But I don't think my parents really understand how they've never really understood how to support me in my mental health. They've gotten better at it, but like when I first started dealing with it in high school, my mom's solution was to go to Home Goods and buy, posters that she would hang up on my wall that say like, write your own life story, or like smile, like stuff like that. And it actually made it worse because I'm like, this is not helpful.
This is attacking my millennial because I'm that kind of person who will get like, we were at Home Goods actually yesterday and it was like the ticket birth. I'm like, Carolyn said, that's so you. And I'm like, it is. And now I feel guilty about it and I don't want to get it.
Yeah, so it's complicated, I guess, is my
Okay,
answer.
complicated. Not fair.
It's been a journey. I actually didn't tell my parents when they first started looking for help for mental health because it's been difficult, and I was like, they're not gonna understand. I'm gonna get judged, and I'm gonna get shamed, and I'm just not gonna be able to continue with it. So I kept it quiet for I think maybe like a couple of weeks, and this was all in the pandemic. So my mom had been furloughed from work. Everyone was at the house, and I was like, hey, actually, I have to like do something, and I'm like, and she kept like being in my room. She's like, but you can do your classes, and I'm like, I'm not class. I have an appointment. She's like, an appointment for what? I'm like, therapy. She's like, what? Therapy. You're like, what? Therapy. Like, I need you to get out of my room. And she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I do not have time for those questions. I need to be on camera in like 5 minutes. Will you please?
Address questions later.
Yeah, I'm like, any questions will be addressed later. This is not a press release, please. No. And she was like, but wait, but why? What do you need help with? And I'm like, where do I start?
It's you. I'm just kidding.
No, and I'm like, it's just always been like just family in general, and it's like that's it's just such a stigma that is with it. I'm like, especially like I'll make it more of like an Ecuadorian reference. Como que salud mental terminas en el Lorenzo Ponce, which was like I'm un manicomio. I don't know how to say that in English.
A nut factor. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
That's how it is, like,
What is it called in English? Manicomio?
I don't know that word, but
I
you
do,
said
but
nut factory. And I was like,
An asylum.
Yeah, like a mental, like an asylum, like that kind of stuff. And it's like
in extreme.
And it's literally like people are like, oh, you're going there, which is kind of was at least back home like the most easily like accessible like mental health, and it was just seemed that bad. So it was scary for me, and now I'm like, okay, and it's like my mom knew at first, and I think then my dad found out. He's like, well, like if you've been struggling for this for such a while, why haven't we found out? I'm like, so when I've tried to bring it up, you're always being dismissive about it, and you're like, oh, that's all in your head, and I'm like, it's not how that works.
I feel like that changed for my dad when he saw that the mental health turned physical. When I had my panic attack, it was in the middle of the night, and I thought I was going to die that night because I didn't know what panic attacks were, and I didn't recognize it. I thought I was having a heart attack. So we called 911 at like 2 a.m, and the ambulance came for me, and I think that's when he realized, like, oh, this is serious. I'm like completely like managed now. That was, it was the middle of the pandemic, and it was happening to a lot of people, but I feel like it's unfortunate sometimes our parents only understand physical health,
I was gonna say
and it
that.
had to translate to that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what happened to me, because it happened to me like really young. Like my parents, like they saw me like become like so, I was like thin, like I wasn't eating, like I was like so in my head, like it became really physical. And I think that's when they're like, how do we help you? And I think somebody suggested therapy, so I started going to therapy really young. But then like I think I kind of got older, and I kind of got like occupied with school and like extracurricular activities, so it, like for a long time like my mental health did get ignored because I was like so on the go. And like I like the fact that like when I'm occupied I don't think about my feelings. I know that's not good, but also like it kind of works for me.
Relatable, yeah.
Like it works, but then it's like you're not forced to think about it until everything hits at the same time, and then you're screwed.
Exactly. And that's what happened in 2020 when I was like done with school, done with like my whole life had just like finished without closure.
Life events. They trigger.
So until recently I started paying attention to it, but I don't tell my family about it just because like I don't want to like worry them, or I don't want to occupy them. Like I'm going through this again, but yeah. But it's better like just having to deal with it myself. Like it's my thing. Like no one else kind of knows, sort of thing.
That's kind of how I deal with it too. I've never had a full-on discussion with my family and said, hey, this is happening to me. I kind of just express it now. So, and I noticed that how you say, like when you say therapy or medication, like it's like triggering for them and they think you're going nuts or something. So I guess I don't say those specific words, and I just say, oh, today I'm feeling kind of sad because, and then I tell them why, and they're just like, okay. Or, oh, I'm feeling very energetic because of this. Or I guess I just express my feelings. I don't talk about mental health. I just say how I'm feeling, and they're kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. I've never been on medication specifically.
Yeah.
And you guys are motivating me to go to therapy. And I haven't gone that many times. But when I did, it was just nice to feel like your feelings are validated and giving, like, and it coming from a stranger versus like someone you love.
Exactly.
It's weird how you don't trust your loved ones sometimes.
Because
and-
it's also like coming from a stranger. Like they don't know me. Like
Yeah.
they don't know how. Like,
You don't know
work.
me?
Yeah. So it's okay that you tell me what to do.
Tell me what to do. Which I guess they're not supposed to. I learned. I always assumed they had to tell you what to do,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they kind of let you figure out through
Yeah.
questions. I'm like, oh, so it's up to me. Okay.
It's like they give you the tools, but it's up to you too whether
They're
you want
not
to do it
telling
or
you what
not.
to do, but they're doing it like under the table sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, whacking you and nudge you in the right direction.
I feel like family can also be unhelpful sometimes because they'll be like, "Why are you sad? You have such a great life. You have a bed. You have
Exactly.
food.
And it makes you feel worse about it.
Just pray or be grateful for your life." And I'm
Ponte
like,
las pilas y cambia las cosas.
Yeah, like
That
It's
pisses
not
me
that
off.
simple.
I'm getting triggered here. I hate,
simple.
and like I grew up Catholic, and I hate that. Just pray about it. I'm like, God acts in mysterious ways. Por algo, Dios solo te manda lo que puedes controlar. I'm like, and it.
Then why do you send me this?
God gives his strongest warriors.
I cannot.
I don't want to be a strong
I
warrior.
don't want to be a warrior.
I say yes and.
No, I'm just like, because I've grown away from like most of my family's Catholic, and I've just never really resonated with it. And it's taken me to get older to like, you know what, like this it's not fair for me, like just to keep pushing because I know I'm never gonna feel close to it and just kind of figure things out on my own, like on that kind of side. And it's been more for like it just I'm like no, because like. And I'm like, he has bigger stuff to worry about than whether I'm feeling sad or I can't get out of bed this morning. No, like there's people dying. I just can't get off bed. So it's like it pisses me off when I hear it. And it's always like for me, I'm like with like my anxiety and depression, it's not like I'm feeling sad and I'm crying and I can't get out of bed. It's just me feeling like there's no hope. It's like, have you guys seen the Mario movie yet?
Yes.
Lumalee's me.
Oh my God.
I saw it.
He was a mood.
I was like, I went to see it with my mom, and I was like cracking up, and I was like literally me. And she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "That's just how I feel." And it's like, there's no hope. It's not necessarily that I'm feeling sad or upset. It's just I feel numb, and that is. And she's like, "But why? And why are you feeling like?"
We're watching a movie.
No, and I'm just like, I can't tell you why. It's just I can't feel anything. I'm not like I'm at capacity. I cannot feel anything. All I can do right now is just worry about like the urgent things, but I don't feel physically able to feel anything else. Or if I'm feeling anxious, like it took me having a full-on panic attack for my mom because I would always like, okay, I'm feeling like one's coming. I'm gonna go take a shower. And cry it out in the shower and everything. And it's like, I'm like, what's wrong with you? But I had shampoo in my eyes. It was easier to dismiss it that way than, but it came to a point where I actually had one at home and my mom was so freaked out. And I was like, and her like, but take a breath. You're going to be fine. Just calm down. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You need to feel the wave of emotions and actually go through them rather than avoid them. Because avoiding them just makes it worse. Which is why I've been having a crash this whole past week. Because I was like, I have so much going on. And I have finals in a month. So I'm just going to put all my feelings in this little box. I'm going to lock it up. Shove it in a drawer. Shove that
I'll get
drawer.
back to you later.
And I'm like, shove it in a drawer instead of a bigger drawer. Instead of the bigger one. And lock it again. And now it's like, okay, finals are over. Deal with it now. And I'm like, never mind.
I feel like when it comes to comments from parents that sometimes I'm like, this is unhelpful, or family members, I've kind of just programmed myself to not get triggered because I know that they grew up in a different time where mental health wasn't a priority like it is now, especially 2020. It was like the year of mental health and like self-care. So now I just kind of just reprogram my brain to not get upset and say they just view things differently. And so I try to find a new strategy on how I can express how I'm feeling without talking to them. And it sounds bad, but like I don't say specific words that will lead to specific comments, or I just express my feelings versus like having a whole conversation about it, because I just know that they won't understand as sad as it feels, but it's helped me personally to be able to not get mad about things, have a better relationship with my parents in that aspect. And also my mom, she's been so wonderful. Every time I tell her, oh, well, you know, I share my knowledge about mental health and kind of, you too, you're allowed to feel like this. Like her father passed away recently. And I feel like she felt guilty feeling that grief for more than like a month. She's like, it's been a month. Like, I need to move on with my life. I need this. I'm like, it's okay to feel sad and upset. That was your father. And I kind of like almost teach her to practice self-care, and she does. And I love that. So I feel like I found a new way to get through them without like fighting and arguing about my mental health's a priority and this and that. So
No, I feel that.
What are your self-care tactics?
Self-care, crying, honestly. And then just doing things that bring me joy. So I notice I have like comfort foods. Like whenever I'm having a bad day, I go get an acai bowl. I love acai bowls. So that puts me in a good mood. I listen to
I wish I craved acai bowl.
I know.
That's what I was
same.
thinking. Because it's like an acai bowl. Like yours is chocolate chip cookies. Mine is eating a full box of mac and cheese.
Hey girl, acai bowls are like $12 or 15, and I'm like, girl, why can't you just eat a cookie? But I love it. It just
That
it's
is
so good.
healthier. And that's what I'm like, and I'm just eating here like a full box of mac and cheese at 2 in the morning.
Hey, no shame in that.
I
Dude, you
know.
gotta listen to your body. I also like start like I guess changing my physical appearance and the fact like I'm gonna do my nails right now they're a mess. Doing my hair or like small things like that.
Putting
to-
on makeup for a day
Yes.
changes
Yes.
your mood.
Yeah, I feel like when you get
when you're
set-
not even going anywhere.
Yeah.
I used to do my brows.
Yeah,
Like,
no, small things like
getting
that.
up.
You feel like you
Yeah.
get into a slump and you don't take care of yourself anymore because you're just, or like no te peinas.
Yeah.
Or you're all
Oh
getting
my
you that.
gosh, I didn't know that, yeah.
So I try to do that, and then just finding stuff I enjoy. Like I really like making TikToks,
Mm-hmm.
so that puts me in a good mood. I notice that when my mental health isn't great, my TikToks go down because I
Now
don't
we
do
know.
any. Yeah, when I don't post anything, you know what's going on. No, but yeah, I think it affects all aspects. So I try to just start doing the things that I love
Mm-hmm.
in order to help myself, and then just telling myself like, "You're that bee. You did this.
Yeah.
Look at the positives of this." Or I make a list of all the things that are in shambles, and then I go, "Okay, we had a pity party. I have a pity party." And then I go, "How are we going to change this?" And I'm like, "Okay, you're going to do this, this, is that." And then I start the next week off and I write a list of to-do things, and writing to-do lists have helped me so much. And then, yeah, that's kind of something. What about you
Same.
guys?
I do that too, where like I do the things that I like. It's like I'm gonna have a me day, type of thing.
Yeah. What about you, Muffet?
The me day 100%. It's like I always feel better if like when I get a haircut or if my curls are popping. It's like sometimes I'm like, okay, it's been 3 days. You have not brushed your hair. Just go like even if you're feeling like okay, go take an actual bath and I'll go okay. I don't have the energy for it. I'm gonna put in a bath bomb and put the hot water and just like.
Oh, I love taking a shower after I'm feeling like down. I love taking a hot shower.
And I'll go and I'm like, okay, I'm putting the color deposit and conditioner, and I'm doing a hair mask, and I'm like sitting.
Getting all your good products out? Oh, it's so
everything,
cute.
everything in at the same time, and I'm like literally sitting like on the toilet with like those Velcro towels, so everything falls, and I'm like, I feel weird, but I feel pretty.
yeah.
I feel like Gollum, and I'm like, okay. But it's like, okay, it's a little things, or sometimes it's like, okay, do I feel like I have the energy to spend time with people like love, or do I need alone time? And if I need alone time, I'll just go. Sometimes like I'll just sit on my car, or I'll go to Starbucks, sit on my car with like a journal, and just start writing, or just sketching, or just listen to a podcast and just kind of turn off my brain for a little bit.
You bring up a good point. I feel like self-care, we sometimes think it's just by yourself, but maybe you just need to hang out with your girls and have a
No,
good
yeah.
day.
I think I text my friend and I'm like, I need to act like a nuisance in the Walmart. Can we do that? Can
Or
we go?
Target.
Can we go cause a ruckus at a local store?
That's you being bad to the bone.
Carol and I right before the
TJ
pandemic.
Maxx,
TJ
I do
Maxx.
that.
Target,
Or Target. I
IKEA.
literally have a picture of like us hanging out right before the pandemic hit, and it's Caroline sitting in the throne she made out of like the paper towel
Oh,
rolls.
before they were like
Literally,
disappeared.
I think like literally the week before they closed everything down. It's Caroline. I'm like, I'm gonna look for it.
What about you, Caroline?
Very much. I like seeing people and not feeling alone. So sometimes I do alone stuff, and that's beauty helps with mental health and stuff. But sharing a meal, sharing ice cream, like food. Again,
Ice
food
cream really
oriented.
does make you feel better.
It
Yeah.
does.
I thought it was a myth. It's true.
Yeah.
My go-to is like
creating.
cookie of ice cream.
Yeah.
Creating.
Creating.
Yeah, like TikToks and stuff, and connecting with other people.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad we all have something.
Yeah.
I have a random question to ask.
Go for
When
it.
your life is in shambles and you just want to cry it out, where do you do it?
Oh.
Shower.
Because I noticed we all had the similar
Shower.
ones.
Mine was the car when I lived with my parents because that was kind of the only safe space for like. I mean, like I'm making it seem like my house isn't safe.
My car is the same.
It's more
like,
like a safe
I'm-
space to express your feelings without feeling judged.
Because you're also
Yes.
alone.
'Cause you're alone.
Alone, yeah.
I guess the privacy.
Anywhere private.
Yeah, and RAV4s are very comfortable.
They are. Yeah.
Toyota sponsor us.
We'll cry in your car.
Cry now on my bed. My bed's always my
Yeah.
place.
So we have showers,
Showers,
cars, beds. I feel like sometimes I could be doing random things like cleaning, and then I hear a really sad song and it hits me, and I'm like, and I'm just crying in place, like while I'm cleaning.
Oh.
I'm like, I feel with the sad songs, I'm like, I don't listen to sad songs when I'm feeling bad, but I have a playlist of like old school like señora songs like Lupita D'Alessio,
That, like, get you in the
Pimpinela,
feels?
Amanda
And
Miguel.
you cry to that?
No, but it's like if I'm feeling like a stress or something, because they're such powerful songs, and you can feel it.
sing.
And I will sing my heart out, and like sometimes I'll just do it when I'm working or something, and my dad passes by like toxica, and I'm like, and I'm like cracking up, and I'm like, no, I'm like, I need to feel my feelings, and it's
Yeah.
like. Alguno me dice tóxica, pero yo les mando un video. I'll send a like, video to my boyfriend that I'm listening to that kind of music and like working, and he'll send me voice notes singing to the song along, and I'm like,
Feel
these are my
supported.
people. Some
This-
people will call you toxic, some people will sing with you.
This reminds me of I went to New York for like a week last year, and in that week I saw 5 different people sobbing in public, like on the streets,
Oh
just
my
like randomly.
God.
And I was working for a company that was based in New York at the time, and so I asked my coworkers, I was like, "What is it with people crying in New York? Like, why do they just do it on the streets? Like sometimes like." I'm like, want to be like, are you okay? And they're like, no, don't do that. They're like, people cry on the streets because, like, I guess, like, so many people are in, like, rooms together or, like, in small apartments that the only place to go cry is on the street. So you just, like, do it on the subway.
Oh
or you
my
just,
God!
like,
Fun
yeah.
fact: people cry in the
Maybe I'll
streets in New
move
York.
to New York.
That's interesting because I would never think of that. I feel like someone would end up like, when I cry, I cry. And it's like, I feel like someone would probably end up calling like 911 me. Like, hey, there's someone.
We're
who, like,
lucky we have cars to cry.
I know.
Like,
Right?
that's why I might go in the shower. It's like I can cry it out. I have the hot water, and if someone asks, "Oh, I had shampoo in my eye,"
Yeah.
Last week I cried while I was at the gym. Like I was listening
At the gym?
Yeah. Thank God I was in the movie room, so it was dark. But like I was like I had my headphones on, and like a song like reminded me of stuff, and I like felt myself like tearing up, and I was like, "Get it out!"
That happened to me once at the gym too, and I put on my hood and I was like, "Get it together."
Yeah,
There's
I was like,
people
"No,
here.
you're not doing this."
It's
here."
because music hits the soul. Yeah, it's like when I'm sad, I almost even put more sad songs. I'm like, "Let's go,
Yes.
girl. Let's get it. What song is the saddest?"
I hate that it feels like using other people, but like crying in someone's arms is just. It
Can't
hits
relate.
different.
Can't relate either.
I've cried in my mom's arms. I've cried in my mother's arms. I just like to be held.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like I've always hidden myself, so I hate when other people see me cry. So I try not to cry in front of
I
them.
think it was-
And when I do, I'm like, I failed.
I feel pressured. I'm like, okay, they're holding me. I can't take too much of their time and their energy to calm
I'm
me
on a
down.
time limit.
I have a hard time
Exactly.
holding it in.
No, that's why I'm like, okay, like if I need to cry it out, I need to cry it out on myself, so I don't feel pressured to like stop before I feel like I'm ready to move on from it. Like I need to cry, I need to scream, I need to hit stuff. Like I remember back home we used to have one of those boxing sacks, and I was like, if I was like pissed enough but like needed to cry, I will go and like kick it and punch it until I just physically could not move my arms anymore.
Damn.
And it's like, okay, I'm still feeling angry and upset, and I was like, I'll go grab it, bro.
Yeah.
I have
I gotta
anger
try
issues.
that.
Hitting things helps.
I guess it's a good segue to how do you feel most supported when you're not okay?
Give me
Support.
space.
Hug. I guess a hug. A long hug.
Hugs.
Just being around people, I think, just helps. Yeah.
I don't like knowing people are there, but I like my personal space. If I'm not like in the mood to like put up with people because I'm an introvert, it's just like I do not have the social battery to deal with this right now. I appreciate you being there for me. I know I can trust them. Like when I was going through stuff with I lost my dog a month ago, and Caroline said, "Hey, if you want to go get coffee or something, let me know." I'm like, I don't have the energy to deal with someone. I just need to be by myself and process my emotions in my own space. And like if I need to cry and do my stuff, okay, good. If I need to write it out, but I need to have my pity party alone. Having people close by makes me feel like I have to also be responsible for how they're feeling and their emotions, and I'm not the mental capacity to do that.
I'm the same way. I have to deal with it alone. I do like hugs though. Like not saying anything, no advice, no nothing. Just a hug, and then
Knowing
I
you're
have
there
to
for
deal with
you.
it. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I'd rather do it alone as well. And I think it's also because I'm a people pleaser, and I'm like, no, I don't want to bother anyone at their time, and I'd rather just do it alone. And I think it just became a habit, and I do it by myself. Yeah.
I saw a tweet. It's like, hold your left boob for support.
Why the left? Is that where the heart is?
I don't know. I mean, it's just
Could
like
I'll do that next
Because it's
time.
bigger than the right.
I think my words.
Do you guys? I guess we could end with what's your go-to crying song?
Oh my god. Okay, so I don't know
like, I got
how I discovered this, but Taylor Swift, the one, like I would be driving and it just like I feel a tear.
Girl, that's my favorite song ever of hers.
I know it is too, but like
Ever.
so like it just makes me cry on command. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Same girl.
Uh-huh.
Dang.
But I think I love music. And that's a very tough question for me because it depends like what my mood is, right?
Which
if
type
I'm
of
mad
crying
at a
do I
friend, I'm like,
want?
what song relates to this? Or if I'm heartbroken, it's like a heartbroken song. If I'm like, my career is in shambles, I'm like, which one says career in
What's
shambles?
the career song?
I haven't found it. It seems like every song. But imagine I'm like Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B song. No, I don't know, but you get the point.
Mine's really cliche. It's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, that one's so sad though. It's good. I think it gives a nostalgic feel. Yeah, I can see that.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Coldplay songs? Oh my god. Like Yellow, The Scientist. I'm like, no. I'm so sad. What about you, Manfred?
I'm trying
She
to
pulled
think.
out her playlist.
I know.
I feel because the thing is, it also depends on what I'm doing.
Which
Yeah.
Daddy Yankee song?
She's like crying.
No.
You better- oh, yeah.
No, it's like it depends. Like sometimes it's Adele.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Someti-
until hits.
Sometimes it's
Oh my
Iri-
God.
sometimes if I'm like more on the numb, depressive, I don't know what I'm doing. Iridescent by Linkin Park. If it's like more heartbroken songs, like anything Lupita D'Alessio, Gloria Trevi, Ana Gabriel, Isabel Pantoja.
They hit when you're heartbroken.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my god, I'm just thinking.
Rosario Durcal, La
The
Gata Bajo la
moscas have
Lluvia.
been eating up this bread.
I know.
Oh,
It's been driving me nuts, and I keep seeing it, and I can't
We're all
swallow
like,
it because I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna hit the mic.
Yeah, we're not gonna eat that.
For those listening, we have a plate of bread here
That we were supposed
that
to eat.
we were supposed to eat, but the moscas have eaten. So
I was
We're
looking
like-
at that one, and then the
we're-
moscas have hit that one.
Hay que dejarlo como ofrenda a la naturaleza.
Yeah.
La gata bajo la lluvia pega. Like if I'm heartbroken, la gata bajo la lluvia, like
I feel like I got closer to you guys through this conversation.
Taylor
It's-
is my go-to
we
person.
got the
Folklore.
Swifties here.
Folklore makes me cry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is me trying.
The one.
The one.
I can't.
I just can't with the iridescent. It's just like, do you feel lost in hope and desperation? I'm like, yep, that's me.
Oh.
I'm lost in hope and
Who
desperation.
sings that?
Linkin Park.
Oh.
Shadow of the Day makes me sad from Linkin Park.
The only exception from Paramore 2.
Bleeding out.
Paramore 2.
Oh yeah, Paramore's a
Paramore.
mood. When I'm like
Oh.
upset and I want to cry, I'm like, oh, I hate everyone. You know, I listen to
The
Paramore.
only exception always tugs at my heart.
Oh my god, that's my favorite song of hers. Yeah, that one makes me cry too.
If anyone's going to the concert, let us know because I'm going.
Oh, fun.
That's cool.
All right.
right.
Well,
Thank you guys for being here with us.
thank you.
Go to therapy.
Go to therapy. Take
You're
care of yourselves.
Not alone.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Self-care.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. If you need it, that's okay. Feel free to ask for help.
Yeah. Help
Sometimes-
yourself, help the next generation.
Yeah.
And it's okay to know that you can't handle everything yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a hand.
Yeah.
Word.
Okay, bye. Don't forget to check out our other episodes.
And our Instagram and, our
follow
TikTok.
us. Yes.
At our Vibes Media.
We almost forgot that.
Follow,
Moms.
like, comment, and share it with your mom, share it with your grandma, share it with your tias, everyone.
Sure.